Well, hello and welcome to the Profit Express. I'm Tim Healy, and I'm inviting you to join me each and every Wednesday so you can be prepared to win the battle for business. That's right. Now listen, I know you're out there. You're closing deals. You're making money. You're turning prospects into profits. So I've got to make it worth your while. That's why I have on the kinds of guests that you can listen, learn, and earn from. Today's guest, no exception. So as always, thanks so much for being on board and sharing some of your time with me today. And of course, a special thanks to our sponsors, Corbett Public Relations, where they've been promoting and protecting businesses and brands for over 30 years. So do yourself and your business a favor. Call Bill and his team. Reach out to them at corbettpr.com. That's CORBETTPR.com. So welcome aboard, everybody. Now, challenging moments in our lives can be the catalyst for great change. Those challenging moments can also be the catalyst for great opportunity. And that's exactly what happened to today's guest. As a 16-year-old girl, she was dealing with the on-again, off-again challenges of dieting and had created great frustration for her for years. And then as she was approaching going into college, it hit her. And the opportunity for the idea hit her. She's like, you know what? I don't want to be caught in this vicious cycle of dieting the rest of my life. So she goes to college and she decides she's going to study nutrition. That's right. And here's the interesting part. Today, my guest is in the pursuit of now building a nutrition empire. And with any empire, there are a lot of interesting and crazy twists and turns and stories on the journey to building that empire. And one interesting one that I wanted to share, as today's guest was in her college years, she had to employ some creative writing for a job application to become a nutritional counselor, which is obviously critical if you're in the nutrition business, you're studying nutrition in school. She had to get a job as a nutritional counselor. And so, okay, she had to fudge her age a little bit. But the good news is she got the job, and the momentum to building that empire started. Little did she know. And as she was building her experience, helping people losing weight and understanding and getting answers to the right nutrition, she ends up right after college on the heels of a recession saying, hey, you know what? Now's a great time to open a business. And she opens a business in a ladies' locker room of a local gym. That's hustle for you. So today's guest is Michelle Blum. She is the founder of NutrishMish. She's the Mish in NutrishMish, of course. And I'm having her on today to share her journey. Now, I've had the pleasure of knowing her for many, many years, probably most of the last 10 years. And it's been a really exciting journey. I've seen her just explode here on the local business scene. And I want her to share her journey with you. And to me, it's an exceptional story. It's an exceptional experience because, as I'm sure so many of us can appreciate, the nutrition business, the weight loss business, to me is one of the most crowded and competitive ones out there. So I know you're going to enjoy today's story and today's interview with my guest, Michelle Blum, founder, CEO, NutrishMish. Michelle, welcome back to the show. How are you today?
Hi, I'm great. I need to carry you around with me. That was an amazing intro. You're the best hype man. That was awesome.
No, listen, there's no hype. I get facts and I relay them with a little bit of enthusiasm, but I speak the truth. You know, I love the fact that you had to do some creative writing on the application to get the job. That's great.
So you told me that right before, and I was like, wait, where did you find that online? But yeah, that's true, unfortunately. It's been enough time. I don't think
the statute of limitations has expired, so I think you're safe. Now, you know what the Profit Express is about. It's about helping the listeners win the battle for business. So you've been in business, and just a few days ago, there was a rather momentous date for NutrishMish. It was November 15th, 2012. What does that date mean to you today?
That was our 10-year anniversary, believe it or not, which is crazy to think about. And I didn't even know until Facebook reminded me. So thank God for Facebook, what we do without those reminders.
So you're so busy building a business, you know it was 10 years, but you didn't know the exact date, right?
Not know the exact date, but you don't need to remember anything these days, which is great.
Right, yeah. So, all right, so you've been 10 years in business. So you've gotten over that initial challenge, those first few years where a lot of businesses fold. So you're doing things right, okay? You've created a certain level of success here locally in the Long Island, New York tri-state market. I know you've made a great name for yourself. And we're going to talk about branding and your social presence, which I really like. But I'd be interested from your perspective, somebody who studied nutrition in school, what have you seen as, what's been the biggest change in the nutrition and weight loss industry since you started?
That's a great question. To be honest, totally honest, I don't think the industry has changed at all. I think the marketing changes. So I think the hype changes. I think the message changes. Like, Atkins is keto, essentially. You know what I mean? So it's the same
Yeah.
concepts kind of rebranded. And for me, at least in my practice and my business and NutrishMish and what we do, is we do the classics. We do what works for people, and it's a little bit more based on things that are going to stick around rather than like trendy stuff.
Wait, so that's interesting. So 10 years, nothing's really changed. It's the marketing and the packaging of it. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I mean. Like, look, little things get discovered here and there. A new study comes out, but to be honest, nutrition, it's the same. There's been protein, carbs, and fats forever, but now we call them macros, right? For even like, like something interesting is, like low fat was really big in the 90s. Now maybe like low carb is a little bit bigger, but like carbs and fats haven't changed. You know what I mean? So it's the marketing, to be honest. I feel like that changes more than anything.
So you said the classics. So you're not complicating it like it's always been fat and protein and carbohydrate. So it's really staying to the classics. That's important and not getting kind of caught up in the hype of it all.
Yeah, when you take any nutritional concept or any even weight loss concept and you boil it down to what it actually is,
Hmm.
it's one of the classic concepts. Like even something like intermittent fasting, which sounds like new and trendy, it's just really a different form of calorie restriction, which has been around forever. So again, I
Right.
think it's really great marketing. I think it's presented and packaged a little bit differently so that people get excited about it. But the science and the basics haven't really changed, to be honest with you.
So then now you've been around for 10 years. On your website, you're talking about the fact that you've helped, I think the number's like 10,000 people lose
Yeah.
and keep off that weight, which is a tremendous accomplishment. I mean, that's a hard number to kind of compute in my head, 10,000 people. That's a lot of pounds, by the way. I could just imagine how many pounds. But so let me ask you this, because I know you also have a team of nutritionists working with you.
Yes.
Who was the one person, and not that you're going to share the name, but what was the one transformation that you're most proud of that had the biggest impact on you?
I get asked this question a lot, and my answer changes, I think, every year because there's like a new, fresh one in my mind. And I don't want to say I'm desensitized to them because I like even today I have a million text messages because we have we my team uses Slack, right? If you're familiar, and it has channels in
Yeah.
it, and we have a client channel. And if I'm looking at the channel from today, it's like so and so's cholesterol is down. So and so, one of my clients today just hit the 100-pound mark. Like there's so many of them that I feel like it, and they happen so often. I feel like I'm almost desensitized to them. But I think I have one in my head, and I think I'm the most proud of him because I think it was one of the first ones that I think was a true impact that I was seeing. It was this guy, he came to me, he was overweight and I mean, probably like 300 pounds. And he was like, I want to be a bodybuilder. And I was like, all right, let's fucking do
Wow.
it. Sorry. I was
Yeah,
like, let's do
that's
it.
quite all right. Yeah. Sure.
I was like,
Wow.
okay, let's do it. And
So, all right. So
so
he
yeah,
comes to you. He's 300 pounds. He wants to be a bodybuilder. And where is he today?
so he lost. So he came in, and I mean, I've been out of touch with him for a while because this was probably 9, 10 years ago. He was actually featured in Newsday. He was somebody, he wasn't dating anybody, and then he like started having like a serious girlfriend. Not that that matters, but it was just like his whole confidence, his whole like style.
Right.
Like he got the job that he wanted. It was just really cool watching his whole life transform. And it's something like when you first start in business, I think you have a little, I don't want to say like imposter syndrome, but kind of. And no matter how many people you help, but like I just remember with him specifically, I was just like, oh my gosh, like this guy's life is totally different now than it was before. And like, I don't want to put all that emphasis on weight loss, but it just, his whole confidence, his whole vibe, everything just really changed. And that's when I was really like, oh my gosh, we can have such a positive impact on people's lives with
Sure,
this.
sure.
And it's just a really big, like, cool moment.
All right, so you said something very important. So, entrepreneurs have all heard this, fake it till you make it, right? And when you're building up a business and you're trying to get credibility and following and traction and clients. And was that story, the one you just shared with that guy who wanted to become a bodybuilder and he's really transformed his life because of your help, did that help validate, your belief in NutrishMish?
A little bit. I think so many things help validate it. I think, I remember, because I was really young when I started. I was 23 years old. Now you guys know how old I am. I was 23. And like at that point, I knew my approach was different. I knew it was good, but still, when you're doing things different and you're 23, you're going to have imposter syndrome. And I remember sitting across from one of my first clients, and she was a diabetic. And I remember she said that she went to somebody, and I remember hearing what that person told them. And I was like, I know the information that I'm giving her is better than what she was given. So that just, so it's all those like little things along the way. And then you see the success, and then you see people have results, and then it just like increases your confidence. I don't think imposter syndrome ever totally goes away, to be honest with you, but it's something where like, the more social proof you have, the more success you have, the more lives you change and everything. Like, it's not even fake it till you make it. Like no matter what, if you've studied something or if you've helped somebody, like you have credibility, you have a background. Do you know what I mean? So I think people just get stuck in their own heads a lot.
I love it. I love it. So then, okay. So with nutrition and weight loss, like you said earlier, there's the fundamentals to nutrition, right? They don't change. They kind of get repackaged. But how much of it, and I guess it's different for each person, how much of the work that you and your team do with people is addressing the emotional component of weight loss?
That's my specialty, actually. That's what I love to do. I specifically like to work with people that just deal with that, because I don't know a program that really does deal with that well, and our program does. But for people who really struggle with it, we actually have a program that we do a couple times a year, and we're just getting ready for our launch. We're doing it in January. We call it the Weight Control Blueprint program. And that's exactly what it's meant to do. The way I describe it, it's when people are unable to execute well consistently, despite kind of knowing what they should be doing, because of their mindset, because of their relationship with food, because they've had a really crazy experience with diet culture. That's who this is for. People who struggle with emotional eating, stress eating. And we've had people come out of that program. And like, I've had people in Overeaters Anonymous who've been told that they're food addicts their whole life come out of that program and be like, oh my gosh, like I actually see it. Because diets aren't going to address, one of the fundamentals of NutrishMish is like, whatever philosophy you subscribe to, it needs to solve a problem that you have. If your problem is mindset, no diet's going to address that. So mindset's such a big deal, and it's such a big piece. But when you go to school for nutrition, they don't really teach you psychology. So I don't think most nutritionists are equipped to handle that, but that's what that person needs. And conversely, psychologists, while they study, again, they don't have a background on nutrition. So I feel like it's a big area that doesn't get addressed enough. And that's my favorite client to work with personally. I personally try to just take those clients just because the transformation is so big, and the problem has usually been a lifelong problem. And just watching them come out of that, like it's actually really life-changing for them. It changes their whole quality of their life.
It's funny, as you're describing this, I could see your facial expressions change, and like you really perk up, and obviously it's something that you love to do, and I can imagine, if you're tapping into somebody who's dealing with emotional issues that date back, like say somebody's in their 50s and they've had the issues since they're in their teenage years, and now you help them address that, man, think about that change.
And that's where it comes from. It comes from childhood and teenage years. Usually it comes from, when I have somebody come in, I'm like, okay, your parents were restrictive around food. Your parents were controlling. Like I could listen to them for 2 seconds. I know exactly where it came from. So for most people who deal with this, it is a lifelong struggle. And like, it sounds kind of crazy to somebody who might not understand it. But when you've had all of this energy your whole life around food and around weight and of obsessing and, not loving yourself and like, it's just so much mental energy that when you could take that energy out of your life and like put it elsewhere, you could like take over the world. So that's a really cool thing to do.
I love it. I'm glad I brought that up. So now, all right, so let's kind of get back to the industry itself. So you're at home one night, you're watching TV, you're on your phone, you're going through Instagram, and you come across 10 different weight loss programs. As a professional, somebody who's dedicated their life and career to this, as you look at 10 of them, and you don't have to give me names, I don't care. You look at 10 of
Yeah,
them. How many of the 10 do you know are bullshit?
all of them, because they all are, because again, diets have a 5% success rate. You know what I mean? I tell my what NutrishMish is based off of, and the three things that a program needs to have for you to be successful is it needs to address a problem you have, which a lot of people have more than one problem. So somebody might have the problem of like maybe they're overeaters, but maybe they also have the emotional, or maybe they're overeaters, but their quality of food isn't good. So like even if that program could take them so far, they're going to get stuck. Number two, can they eat that way forever? So unless you're going to cut out carbs for the rest of your life, or unless you're going to intermittent fast for the rest of your life, unless you're going to like never go to a party again or whatever, like it just teaches you how to diet. It doesn't teach you how to like work this stuff into your lifestyle. And then number three, do you like it? Do you enjoy it? Because if you don't enjoy eating this way, you're not going to want to do it forever. So, you know, all these things, there's a difference between somebody chasing a number on the scale versus somebody changing their eating habits and their weight changes as a reflection of that. And all of these programs out there are all about chasing a number. Like the goal is just to see a number versus like the number changing is more of a reflection of habit changes, if that makes sense.
So again, I guess the way a lot of these programs are designed, it's kind of like a built-in failure mechanism in the fact that they can only, not eat carbs for so long. They can only intermittent fast for so long. Even if it's 6 months or a year, you're going to revert back is kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah, there's a difference between, I call it weight manipulation. So a lot of diets promote like weight manipulation because most people just want to lose the weight. What I like to do is I like to get to the root of the problem. Well, why is your weight what it is? Like, is it because you can't execute well? Is it because you can't execute consistently? Is it because of your mindset? Is it because you're not doing the right thing? And when you get to the root of the problem and you get people there in a way where it's sustainable and they actually enjoy it and it doesn't feel restrictive, they're able to do that. And that's a different skill set than dieting. It's kind of like the difference between like learning a language and actually learning a skill of like Spanish versus like going to Spain and using Google Translate. Either way, you can kind of like get through a trip to Spain, but like one you like learn something and it's ingrained in you, and one is like a quick fix to a problem, if that makes sense.
So then you have a client, they come to you, I'll say you fix them, or I'll just say you fix them, right? And they're happy they've achieved their goals. So then really somebody who's done it the right way, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, really shouldn't be thinking that they're dieting anymore, right?
No, like, and that's what I tell our clients. By the time that you're done, eating well should come just as naturally to you as showering and brushing your teeth, because you've done it so many times and you've done it in a way, and we draw the line in the sand a little further. And like when they look at like the long-term success rates of diets, it's 5%, which is crazy. That means like 95% of people that go on any given diet are going to gain the weight back within a year. Ours, when I send our surveys out every year, is 83%, which is significantly higher. But it's because we're doing something different. We're getting to the root of the problem rather than just trying to like chase a number.
Which is funny. So the success rate of diets is 5%. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry. I don't know how many billions.
6 billion. So if we spend $6 billion on something that has a 5% success rate, and then we do it over and over again. It's like no, like maybe this time this guy will like me. Like, no, it's not going to happen. Like, it's crazy.
Well, again, that goes to the emotional component of all this. If somebody's desperate, like, okay, I'll try this, I'll try that, et cetera. All right, now let's get back to NutrishMish. So, we've known each other for a number of years. I've had the pleasure of kind of seeing your business really blossom. So as the business owner, now that you're 10 years into it, give me what you feel is, and there's never just one reason, I understand, but give me what you think is one of the main reasons why you're still in business and you're successful 10 years later.
That's a great question. I think it's because we really tried to evolve, because again, when you have one thing, right? Like I don't do like trendy. Like we don't have a different program every single year, right? Or like there's some programs that are like, oh, it's the new blah, blah, blah. Like we don't do that. It's the same program for the most part. We add things to it, but we have evolved, you know, we have like virtual service now. We've added an app. We've like listened to our clients and like what they need. And we've just made it more intuitive, and we've tried to give them a lot more. I think if I had to answer why we're so successful, I think it's because we're really good at what we do and people like seeing a result that's going to last. And I think that just really helps when people are actually getting the results that they want. And I think like probably the biggest thing is that we really do it for the clients. I could be having the worst day ever. I still see clients myself because I just like it, you know, like I probably shouldn't be as a business owner anymore, but I like it because like, you know, and I have to say my team is freaking phenomenal. And the fact where like they care so much about their people and it's so rewarding. And I think just because our culture is all about, it's not about money. It's really just about making that client successful. Like we're friends with all of our clients. Like they become our family. Like, and I think that's probably the biggest reason why is our intention's always been in the best interest of the client.
Well, listen, if you're starting out from, as I do in my business, you're here to help. And, you know, like, you know, the prospect understands that and they get that sense, you know, that you're not just trying to sell and push a system. So, and you make that connection, obviously. Let's talk a little bit, because I do like your social media presence and how you brand yourself. What's your secret sauce? How do you do it? What's your strategy? Share that, because, you know, listeners are always looking for, you know, ways to better navigate, you know, what is social media nowadays.
Yeah, to be honest, I feel like I'm still figuring it out. So when I first started, there was just Facebook, right, 10 years ago. And that was easy because it was just one platform and you posted on it. And I remember what started working for us then. I would post these like great tips every day and it got like zero traction. And then I remember one day I posted this, like, I think it was like Big Bird made out of vegetables, like something really stupid like that. And all of a sudden that got like 85 likes. And I was like, really, this is what's going to do it? So I was like, oh, pictures. But again, this was like 10 years ago. But then there's like Instagram and now TikTok. So I feel like I missed the Instagram train a little bit. Like I don't have the biggest following on Instagram, but I like using it for the platform. TikTok is where I put most of my energy now, which I know is scary to like people listening, but TikTok is an amazing platform right now because it's the only platform that actually has organic reach. Like you can post amazing content on Instagram and unless you're paying, no one's really going to see it. But TikTok, like I had one. And of course, it was the video that I was literally wearing no makeup for, that I did at like 10 o'clock at night on a whim. And all of a sudden, it got 1.5 million views. And I was like, what is this?
Get the F out of here. Are you serious?
Yeah, one video. And of course, that one blew up. And then once you start getting more traction, then you can really build on it. But it's the only platform you can do that on. And there is some strategy to it for sure. And I mean, I learned a lot of the strategy just really on YouTube. Like you could just Google and there's some really great people to follow. But I think if you just put out content that is interesting, that grabs people attention, that people can relate to, it just does the trick. And, you know, sometimes I'll put out content and I'm like, oh, I didn't post it at the right time or it wasn't the right length. But that's not true. Like if you put out content that people resonate with, you can, I believe personally, and I could be wrong, you could put it out anytime. It could be any length. If it's good, people will watch it and it will get traction on the right platforms. But yeah, I think TikTok is where people should be right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Now, okay. So all right. You just said you kind of missed the Instagram train a little bit. Your efforts and strategy really into TikTok. You had one video alone, 1.5 million views. Holy crap. That's wow.
It was.
I can't envision myself on TikTok. I don't know. Maybe. So let me ask you. Now we're getting off NutrishMish for just a second. I'm being selfish. Should the Profit Express be on TikTok?
How is the Profit Express not on TikTok? You already have the clips. Just shorten them a little bit and throw them on there. Yeah.
Are you serious?
You'll get such a bigger reach. I'm telling you, I don't even have a lot because to be honest, I should post more consistently and I haven't. Like again, when you're a business owner, you have a million things going on. I have 70,000 followers, 60,000, something like that. And like even that one video, like, and I have a couple of videos that have hit a couple 100,000, like to get a couple 100,000 eyes on you for free. Like when do you get that? Ever? Like how much money would you have to put into ads to get 100,000 eyes on you? How are you not on TikTok?
So you're saying if I dress up Big Bird in vegetables, I'll get 1.5 million views. Okay.
10 years ago. I don't know if that still works. That was my trick 10
Uh,
years ago. I don't know about now. But when TikTok first came out, it was all about like kids dancing and this and that. And there are definitely like trends and things like that. But
yeah,
to be
yeah.
honest, I've learned so much on there. Like the culture of the platform is people just share information. So if you have something cool to share, like if you have an interesting perspective on business or nutrition, or people like relate to you, people will find you. Like the algorithm is crazy and accurate and whatever, but you the amount of money it would take to put into Facebook ads, or for Instagram Meta, whatever they're calling it, you could just post one video and get that for free. And like there's probably going to be a time limit as to how much longer that lasts for, because eventually every platform kind of starts to get more pay for play. But for right now, you can still get amazing organic reach, and you'll definitely have more eyes on you than you will on any other platform. So my strategy right now, which I need to get a little bit more solid with, is I use Instagram as a capturing tool, and then I use Instagram as a more nurturing tool. So I'll tell my my TikTok followers, I'll get them there, and then I'll maybe
Right.
like have them go to my Instagram, and then I post like more like nurturing content, not like the viral
Yeah, yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
because it's not
yeah,
going to
yeah.
go viral.
Wow. Wow. Now I'm glad I had you on. If nothing else, I learned. I mean, I just did not think, the Profit Express. I mean, look at me. I didn't think look at this guy. I look like Walter White. I didn't think I'm a TikTok kind of person. Who
You
the
are
hell
you are a
knows?
TikTok guy. I'm telling you, you already have the content. Throw it up there. I'm telling you. You put a little
Yeah.
strategy behind it, you'll get so many eyes. And you're like, again, everybody go watch, listen to this podcast. Like I'm telling you, got to do it.
All right. All right. I'm taking your advice. You're going to see me. You got to make sure you follow me on TikTok. Oh my God.
I will. I'll be your first
Um,
follower.
thank you. So it's been 10 years, and on a serious note, as a business owner, you and I both know that's a huge milestone. It's not easy. So again, you're obviously doing something right. 10,000 people, God knows how many pounds you've helped people lose and transform their lives. It's not easy being a business owner. You just spoke about it earlier. There's so many things that we have to do and stay on top of. Let me ask you this. Who does NutrishMish, who does Michelle Blum go to for inspiration when business is tough?
That's a great question. I am so lucky to have an amazing, like, small group of friends, and like I have one mentor who from day one, he helped me run this whole thing. Like when things were really scary, if I didn't have him, I would not be where I am now. He married me and my husband at our wedding. Like that's how close we've gotten.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, like I would literally be nowhere without him. And then your network really does become important. Like I've been so lucky to have an amazing network of people that get it, because if you're not a business owner, it's really the problems that you deal with, unless you own a business, it's hard to understand it. So but when you work with people and you have friends and you surround yourself with people who get it, when the problems come up, you're like, oh my God, okay, this is normal. Or you have somebody with an outside perspective. Like I have a friend who owns a gym, and our businesses are very similar, also 10 years old. And like I'll like just message him and be like, oh my God, this crazy thing happened and I'm spiraling. And he's just like, you got this, like you've done this before. But
Yeah,
sometimes you just
yeah, yeah.
need that. So like
Absolutely.
it's your network is huge with it, but you definitely need, I think you need a mentor for sure, and you need a network of friends who are business owners who get it when things get crazy.
So then this mentor, I don't think you could say more positive things about this person. Even married you at your wedding. So this person was the absolute difference maker, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, in the beginning, because again, I was 23. I mean, like female, like again, like there were days where I'm just like, is this normal? Like I don't even think I would have had the courage to like leave my job fully at the time if it wasn't for his support and guidance, because it's scary. You need to make the leap, but just to have somebody in your ear being like, okay, like this is what's normal, this is what you should expect, like like this is what you're gonna do, these are your options, or just to like just even reaffirm. Like I mean, he's gotten the 2 a.m. calls, like all of that stuff, and now I don't need him to hold my hand as much, but in the beginning, like it was so
Sure.
amazing to have somebody there to like do all of those things, because it gets a little crazy. I think it's a little bit easier now, but back in the day when you're fully brick and mortar and it's like
Oh yeah.
it's challenging.
All right, here, fun question. So listen, we have Thanksgiving coming up, and the eating holiday that is, right? Big challenge for a lot of people. But let's not talk about Thanksgiving really. What I want to talk about, and this is just between you and I,
Sure.
When it's late at night and you're binge watching Netflix or something, what dark corner do you go into with snacks when nobody's watching? What's your really
Me?
bad indulgence? Yeah, you.
Okay, so here's my thing. I believe in indulgence. I do. And I tell my
Okay.
clients that too. Like it's, like eating most of the time should be for fun, for fuel, right? Like that's like
Right.
the primary purpose. Just
Right.
like water is the primary liquid that you should be consuming. But then sometimes there's vodka, right? So sometimes you want to have, and like that's okay. You can get away with both. It's the same thing with money, right? With money, there's the money that you put towards your bills and your mortgage, and then you have discretionary income. And when you have a healthy relationship with finances, you have both, right? So I
Hmm.
believe a
Hmm.
good relationship with food includes mostly fuel, but then like with our clients, we create them a budget. We actually call it a budget of like fun stuff or like indulgences. And we can tell, we have a formula to figure out how much of that stuff they can get away with and still hit their goals. And I think that's necessary. Like every single one of our clients has lost weight, none of them eating what we would consider perfectly. Like you never have to. So I believe in indulgences. Like I think that's part of a healthy lifestyle. My favorite one, if you're gonna ask, I'm not like a
Yeah.
late night person, but my favorite is chicken fingers, French fries, and honey mustard, like very specifically.
Like you mean the favorite diet of a 13-year-old?
I have the palate of a 5-year-old if you would let me. Yes, for sure. I can order off the kids' menu if I wanted to. Absolutely.
Chicken fingers, French fries, honey mustard. Wow, I love it.
And if
I
you ask
love it.
any one of my friends blindly, they will tell you that is my favorite.
Okay, so that's what you're known for. Listen, it's been a great conversation. Here's my last one before I let you go. Um, Business owner of 10 years, you look back, if you had a do-over or a mulligan, what would it be?
Oh, that's such a great question. I mean, hindsight's 2020, right? So I know so much more now than I knew then. I think I would definitely take more risks. I think I don't want to say mistake that I made, but I think one thing that happened that I wasn't really prepared for was like, I don't want to say complacency, but like when you first start and I was in my 20s and I was like, either I make this work or I move back in with my parents in Jersey, which I really didn't want to do. I think it's a little bit of a different feeling than when you're like 5 years in, you're a little like comfortable, and you don't recognize that that's happening because like you're still able to pay your bills and you're still able to
Right.
like you're still seeing clients. So I think I would take more risks. I think I would be more like growth oriented. I think I would do those types of things differently because I didn't recognize times maybe when I was getting a little bit complacent or times when things were a little bit stagnant because they were still
Mm.
working. So I think I would just be more on top of that. But otherwise, I'm really proud of what we've done. And I'm
Well,
excited
listen,
to grow. We have a lot of really great plans coming up.
you should be, absolutely. Um, People who don't know of you yet, how can they follow you? What's the best way to get in touch?
So you can go to our website, which is nutrishmish.com. That's NutrishMish. You can follow us on all social media platforms at NutrishMish. My personal Instagram is Mish of NutrishMish. That's MISHNutrishMish. But yeah, you can follow us on all of the platforms, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff.
Awesome. Listen, you're a great inspiration for nutrition and wellness. Also, a great inspiration for small business owners out there who are hustling. So, congratulations to you and your team. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. My pleasure. And that is Michelle Blum. She's the president and the founder of NutrishMish. A great story. Follow her on social, even just for the social following. And of course, listen, if you have nutrition and dieting issues, of course she's a person to go to. So this is the Profit Express. And be on the lookout every Wednesday for great shows like the one I just had with Michelle Blum of NutrishMish. As they download, you can follow me in the show on Instagram at the Profit Express. I'm not yet on TikTok, but because of my interview with Michelle today, I will be on TikTok soon. And until next time, let's continue to win the battle for business. It's a Profit Express.